Dr. Jessica Miller hadn't slept in 36 hours, but the quantum readings on her holographic display demanded attention. The Quantum Defense Initiative's underground laboratory hummed with the subtle vibration of cooling systems, keeping their experimental quantum computers stable. She took another sip of lukewarm coffee, frowning at the anomalous data patterns streaming across her screen. Dr. Miller, the young technician's voice cracked with tension. You need to see this. She turned toward the main monitoring station, where the massive wall display showed their deep space sensor array's output. Dozens of massive objects were decelerating near Jupiter's orbit, their energy signatures unlike anything in their database. Get me Colonel Richardson, she ordered, her fingers already flying across the keyboard. And wake up everyone on the quantum communications team. Before the technician could reach the phone, every screen in the facility flickered. A voice boomed through their speakers, its tone dripping with aristocratic condescension. People of Earth, the voice announced in perfect English, I am Fleet Admiral Zixtal of the Royal Hegemony. Your primitive world has been chosen to receive our greatest gift, the opportunity to serve as a protectorate under our benevolent rule. Jessica's hands trembled as she initiated deep scans of the transmission. The alien fleet emerged from behind Jupiter, their ships arranged in a formation that spoke of centuries of military tradition. Each vessel gleamed with an inner light, their hulls adorned with symbols of authority and power. They weren't trying to hide. They wanted to be seen, to be feared. Your species has shown promise, Admiral Zixtal continued. Your first steps into space travel, your crude nuclear technology, your quaint digital networks, all suggest you might one day become useful servants of the hegemony. The facility erupted into action. Military personnel rushed to battle stations, scientists crowded around monitoring equipment, and somewhere an alarm began to wail. But Jessica barely noticed. Her eyes were locked on the quantum signature of the alien transmission. You have 48 hours to submit your formal surrender, the Admiral declared. Resist, and we will demonstrate why no world has successfully defied the Royal Fleet in over 1,000 years. Colonel James Richardson burst into the lab, his uniform hastily donned. Tell me we have something, Miller. A smile crept across Jessica's face as her quantum analysis completed. Oh, we have something all right. She pointed to the complex mathematical patterns underlying the alien transmission. See these quantum encryption protocols they're using. They're exactly what I predicted in my thesis. The one everyone said was impossible. Richardson leaned closer, his military bearing momentarily forgotten. English, Doctor. What are we looking at? They're using quantum encryption that's thousands of years old, Jessica explained, excitement building in her voice. They've had it so long, they think it's unbreakable. But look at this pattern. She highlighted a section of the analysis. They're vulnerable to quantum interference cascades, the same ones we discovered last year. The colonel's eyes widened as he understood. You're saying we can break their encryption? Better. Jessica's fingers danced across her keyboard, bringing up more analyses. Their whole technology base relies on quantum principles we've already surpassed. They're so convinced of their superiority, they don't even bother hiding their command frequencies. Above them, Admiral Zixtal's voice continued its pompous declaration, listing the benefits of submission to the hegemony. But in the underground lab, hope began to replace fear. Get me a secure line to the Pentagon, Richardson ordered. And someone wake up Amanda Rodriguez. If Miller's right, we're going to need the best hacker on Earth. Jessica turned back to her quantum analysis, her mind racing with possibilities. The Royal Fleet had spent 1,000 years perfecting their technology, but they'd stopped innovating centuries ago. Humanity, young and hungry for advancement, had already theorized ways to bypass their defenses. The Admiral's final words echoed through the facility. We await your surrender, primitive ones. The Royal Fleet's mercy has limits. Jessica allowed herself a small laugh. The aliens' arrogance would be their downfall. They expected Earth to be an easy conquest, just another primitive world to add to their ancient empire. Instead, they were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity's potential. The warning shot had been fired, but not by the Royal Fleet. The Cheyenne Mountain briefing room buzzed with nervous energy as the world's fate hung in the balance. Above ground, the UN Security Council debated surrender terms. Down here, 30 stories beneath the Rocky Mountains, humanity prepared to fight back. Amanda Ghost Rodriguez slouched in her chair, combat boots propped on the conference table, her laptop displaying streams of alien code. The legendary hacker had been pulled from a classified operation in Singapore just hours ago. Her dark eyes narrowed as she processed Dr. Miller's presentation. "So you're telling me," Rodriguez said, sliding her boots off the table and leaning forward, "that the most advanced alien empire in the galaxy is running on outdated quantum algorithms." "Exactly." Jessica Miller nodded, her enthusiasm cutting through her exhaustion. "They haven't innovated in centuries. Why would they? No one's challenged them successfully in 1,000 years. Colonel Richardson paced the room, his weathered face deep in thought. "Break it down for us, Doctor. What's our actual advantage here?" Jessica pulled up a holographic display showing the fleet's communication patterns. Their entire command structure relies on quantum encrypted channels they believe are unbreakable. But look at this. She highlighted a recurring pattern in the alien transmissions. They're using a fixed quantum state for their base encryption. My team theorized this might be possible, but we thought it was too obvious to actually work. Rodriguez's fingers flew across her keyboard. "Holy hell," she whispered. "They're not even cycling their quantum signatures. It's like they're using the same password for everything. Because they think we're too primitive to even detect their quantum communications, let alone decode them." Jessica smiled. "We're not just less advanced. We're a completely different branch of quantum evolution. We had to solve problems they never encountered." The room's main screen lit up with Rodriguez's first infiltration attempt. To everyone's shock, alien command protocols began scrolling across the display. "I'm in," Rodriguez announced, her voice filled with disbelief. "That should have taken years of quantum computing power. I just did it in minutes." Colonel Richardson stopped pacing. "How much of their network can you access?" "All of it." Rodriguez's eyes widened as more data poured in. "Their arrogance is unreal. They're not even monitoring for intrusion attempts from Earth. Why would they? We're just primitive humans." Then we have our opening. Richardson activated the secure room's main tactical display. "Dr. Miller, how quickly can we weaponize this advantage?" Jessica consulted her notes. "The quantum disruption theory is solid. We'd need to modify our satellite network, but the Martinez twins could handle that. The real challenge is getting close enough to their ships to plant quantum beacon seeds." "Leave that to Lieutenant Cooper," Richardson replied. "She's our best pilot, and the fleet's already expecting surrender missions. They'll be looking for submission, not sabotage." Rodriguez raised her hand, still typing with the other. "Small problem. Folks, I'm seeing references to something called a star hammer in their tactical databases. Whatever it is, they consider it their ultimate weapon. Forward that data to my team," Jessica ordered. "If it uses quantum mechanics, we can find a weakness. Nothing's unbeatable, not even their superweapon." Richardson nodded grimly. "We have 40 hours until their deadline. I need options on my desk in 10. Miller, coordinate with the quantum defense teams. Rodriguez, map their entire command structure. I want to know every weakness, every blind spot, every arrogant assumption we can exploit." "What about the UN?" Rodriguez asked, glancing at the ceiling. "They're probably signing surrender documents right now." "Let them," Richardson smiled. "The best ambush is the one your enemy thinks is impossible. Dr. Miller, you're certain about this?" Jessica met his gaze with quiet confidence. "Colonel, humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our drive to innovate, to find new solutions. The Royal Fleet stopped growing centuries ago. They've been coasting on past achievements, assuming they've reached the peak of development. We're about to show them how wrong they are. Above them, The mountain hummed with activity as Earth's hidden defense forces mobilized. The royal fleet expected submission from a primitive species. Instead, they were about to face something they'd never encountered before. A younger civilization that had already surpassed them in ways they couldn't imagine. Humanity's trap was set. Now they just had to spring it. Michael Martinez wiped sweat from his forehead as he made another microscopic adjustment to the satellite's quantum receiver. The cramped clean room at NASA's Johnson Space Center wasn't built for this kind of rapid modification work, but Earth's deadline didn't care about comfort. "Pass me the quantum resonator," he called to his twin sister Sarah, who was elbow-deep in another satellite circuitry. "This one's almost ready for deployment." 24 hours left, Sarah reminded him, sliding the tool across their shared workspace. "How many satellites are configured?" 812, Michael answered, double-checking his calculations. "We need at least 1,000 for complete coverage." Above them, through layers of reinforced glass, technicians worked frantically to load modified satellites into launch vehicles. The royal fleet observed it all, their massive ships looming in near-Earth orbit like ancient cathedral spires. Lieutenant Emma Cooper's voice crackled over their secure channel. "Martinez twins, I need those quantum beacons. My surrender mission launches in 6 hours." "You'll have them," Sarah promised, sealing up her satellite's access panel. "Just remember, the beacons have to be within 50 meters of their shield generators for maximum effect." "No pressure," Emma replied dryly. "Just got to sneak classified tech onto the most advanced warships in the galaxy, while pretending to surrender. Should be fun." The clean room's door hissed open as Dr. Miller entered, tablet in hand. "New data from Rodriguez's team," she announced. "The fleet's shield frequencies operate on a predictable quantum resonance. We can tune our disruption field more precisely now." Michael grinned as he integrated the new calculations. "Their own transmissions are giving us everything we need. Has anyone ever told them that arrogance has a price? They're about to learn." Jessica studied the modified satellites with approval. "How's the coverage looking?" Sarah pulled up a holographic map showing their planned network. "We'll have overlapping fields across their entire formation, the moment they power up their shield grid for planetary lockdown. Everything crashes," Michael finished. "No shields, no quantum communication, no way to coordinate their response." A warning klaxon sounded. Another launch window opening. Teams of engineers rushed to load the next batch of satellites into position. The Royal Fleet's sensors would detect the launches, of course, but they'd dismiss them as primitive communication equipment. Just another conquered world, desperately trying to maintain basic services during submission. "Lieutenant Cooper," Jessica called over the comm. "Status update. My surrender shuttle checks out." Emma responded. "Nice touch adding those obvious tracking devices for them to find. They'll be so busy feeling smug about detecting those, they won't look for the quantum beacons." Sarah sealed another beacon into its stealth housing. "Just remember, you'll need to get close to their command ships. That's where the shield generators are strongest." "Already planned," Emma said. "I studied their ceremonial protocols. They'll want the surrender delegation to approach specific ships in a specific order, all about showing proper respect to their noble houses." Michael looked up from his work. "Speaking of nobles, how's our favorite admiral?" Jessica checked her tablet, still broadcasting speeches about the glory of the hegemony. "Rodriguez says their command channels are full of predictions about how quickly Earth will adapt to imperial rule. Their confidence is our weapon," Sarah noted, starting on another beacon. "They've forgotten that new civilizations can surpass old ones. Evolution doesn't stop just because you want it to." Through the observation windows, another wave of satellites launched into the darkening sky. Each one carried humanity's response to alien hubris, not the submission they expected, but the seeds of their defeat. "Time check," Michael called out. 23 hours until deadline." Emma's voice was steady over the comm. "Surrender shuttle preparations at 80%. Quantum beacons loaded and concealed. Satellite network at 85% coverage," Sarah added. Jessica studied the latest data from their quantum sensors. The royal fleet remained in their perfect formation, radiating arrogant superiority across every frequency. They had no idea that humanity had turned their own overconfidence into a weapon. The perfect trap was almost ready. Earth's surrender was about to become the greatest ambush in human history. Lieutenant Emma Cooper kept her hand steady on the shuttle's controls as she approached the Royal Fleet's command ship. Behind her, Earth's delegation, actually Special Forces operators with concealed quantum beacons, maintained their rehearsed poses of submission. Final approach, she reported over the encrypted channel. Their shield grid is powering up for planetary lockdown, just as predicted. Admiral Zixtel's voice boomed across all frequencies. People of Earth, we accept your wise decision to submit. The Royal Fleet will now implement standard containment protocols. Resistance at this stage would be unfortunate. In the Cheyenne Mountain Command Center, Rodriguez's fingers flew across her keyboards. They're broadcasting the shield activation sequence on all channels. They want everyone to see their power. She smiled grimly. Bad move. Colonel Richardson watched the tactical display as thousands of quantum signatures lit up around Earth. Dr. Miller, status of our satellite network. 100% coverage, Jessica replied, her voice tense with anticipation. The Martinez twins outdid themselves. Every shield generator in the fleet is within our disruption field. Emma's shuttle glided through the fleet's formation. Massive warships loomed on all sides, their ancient hulls decorated with the symbols of 1,000 conquered worlds. Her sensors detected the quantum beacons activating silently in their concealed compartments. Delegation approaching primary docking bay, she reported. Their scanning crews found our decoy devices, exactly as planned. They're very proud of themselves. Richardson nodded to Jessica. Time to show them what real pride costs. Execute Operation Dead Switch. Jessica's hands danced across her quantum control station, initiating cascade sequence. Lieutenant Cooper, get ready for chaos. In space, the Royal Fleet's shield grid reached full power. Admiral Zixtel began his prepared speech about the magnanimity of the hegemony. And then everything changed. The quantum disruption cascade triggered. Every modified satellite around Earth activated simultaneously, their overlapping fields amplified by Cooper's carefully placed beacons. The fleet's supposedly impenetrable shields flickered and died. What? Admiral Zixtel's voice lost its aristocratic tone. Impossible. Our shields cannot. His transmission cut off as Rodriguez seized control of their communication networks. Broadcasting their vulnerability on all frequencies, she announced, every subjugated world in the galaxy is about to see this. Emma yanked her shuttle into a steep dive as hidden weapon ports opened across Earth's surface. The Special Forces team shed their diplomatic robes, revealing combat gear. Packages delivered, she reported. Beginning attack run. The fleet's formation dissolved into chaos. Ships tried to raise their shields, but the quantum disruption field prevented any quantum-based technology from functioning. Their mighty warships, stripped of their defensive screens, faced Earth's primitive weapons. Multiple launches detected. Rodriguez called out. They're trying to coordinate a response, but I'm flooding their command channels with false orders. They can't tell which transmissions are real anymore. Richardson grabbed a microphone. All units, execute attack pattern Delta. Show them why humanity never stopped developing weapons that could penetrate shields. Missile batteries emerged from hidden silos. Railgun platforms rose from beneath the ocean's surface. Fighter squadrons launched from camouflaged bases, their pilots eager to test themselves against the legendary Royal Fleet. Admiral, Jessica broadcast on the fleet's own frequencies. You assumed that being older meant being superior. You forgot that evolution rewards adaptation, not stagnation. Humanity never stopped growing, never stopped preparing for threats like you. The first wave of Earth's weapons struck home. Royal warships, designed to fight behind impenetrable shields, had sacrificed armor for power projection. Their hulls cracked under impacts they were never meant to face. Impossible. Zixtal's voice betrayed raw fear. "You're primitives. Your technology is centuries behind ours." "No," Jessica responded as more ships fell to Earth's assault. "We're just on a different path. You perfected one type of technology and stopped looking for alternatives. We never had that luxury. We had to keep pushing boundaries, keep finding new solutions." The battle raged across near-Earth orbit, but its outcome was already decided. Humanity's gambit had worked. The Royal Fleet's greatest strength, their absolute faith in their technological superiority, had become their fatal weakness. The age of the hegemony's dominance was about to end, brought down by the very primitives they had so grievously underestimated. Major Diana "Thunder" Thompson rolled her fighter through a burst of alien point defense fire, her modified F-35 Shadowhawk responding with preternatural agility. The quantum disruption field had stripped away the Royal Fleet's shields, but their ships still bristled with energy weapons and automated defense systems. "Thunder Squadron, form up on me," she commanded, her cockpit displays highlighting optimal attack vectors. "Target their sensor arrays. Let's blind these nobles." Below her, Earth's atmosphere shimmered with the aftermath of quantum cascades. The Martinez twins had transformed humanity's satellite network into a weapon that the mighty hegemony never saw coming. Now, Thompson and her pilots would show them what else they'd missed about Earth's capabilities. "Multiple bandits, high orbit," her wingman reported. "Royal interceptors launching." Thompson smiled as she pushed her fighter into a climb. The aliens were about to learn another lesson about human innovation. Show them what these primitive jets can do. Her squadron climbed to meet the alien fighters, their engines enhanced with reversed engineered technology from previous, classified UFO encounters. The Royal Fleet had expected to face simple chemical rockets. Instead, they met machines that combined human ingenuity with hybrid alien tech. "Ghost actual to Thunder Squadron." Rodriguez's voice crackled through their quantum-hardened comms. "Fleet targeting data incoming. Their automated systems are running on predictable patterns. Use it." Thompson's tactical display lit up with enemy weak points. "Copy that. Thunder Squadron, new targets marked. Let's show them what human pilots can do against thousand-year-old automation." The space around Earth erupted in chaos. Royal interceptors, relying on ancient targeting algorithms, couldn't adapt to the unconventional maneuvers of Earth's fighters. Thompson's squadron danced through their formation, each pilot demonstrating why human intuition and creativity could outmatch even the most sophisticated computer systems. "Multiple hits confirmed," Sarah Martinez reported from ground control. "Their sensor networks are degrading. Keep pressing the advantage." Thompson barrel-rolled her fighter through a gap in the alien formation, her weapons finding vulnerable points in their armor. The Royal Fleet's ships had been designed to fight behind impenetrable shields, making armor a secondary concern. Now that hubris was costing them dearly. "Admiral Zixtal is requesting reinforcements," Rodriguez announced with obvious glee, broadcasting his distress calls across all frequencies. Every subjugated world in the galaxy is watching the mighty Royal Fleet get outmaneuvered by primitive Earth pilots. Dr. Miller's voice cut through the battle chatter. "Major Thompson, we're detecting massive energy buildup in their flagship. They're preparing to deploy the Starhammer." "Not on my watch," Thompson growled, leading her squadron toward the massive vessel. "Thunder Squadron, new primary target. We need to buy the ground team's time to configure our countermeasures." The flagship loomed ahead, its ancient hull scarred by Earth's weapons. Point defense turrets tracked her approach, but Thompson had studied their firing patterns. Her fighter slipped through gaps in their coverage, her pilots following with precision born of countless hours of training. "Energy buildup critical," Miller warned. "They're getting desperate." Thompson's squadron screamed past the flagship's bridge, their weapons targeting crucial power conduits. Let them get desperate. Desperate enemies make mistakes. Rodriguez's hack had turned the fleet's own sensors against them, broadcasting their tactical data to every corner of the galaxy. Each successful strike by Earth's forces became a lesson for other worlds under hegemony control. The Royal Fleet wasn't just losing a battle, they were losing their aura of invincibility. Thunder Squadron, multiple impacts confirmed, ground control reported. Flagship's power grid is fluctuating. But even as Thompson's fighters pressed their attack, warnings blared in their cockpits. The Starhammer was powering up, its massive form beginning to glow with deadly energy. The Royal Fleet's superweapon was about to show why even a wounded Empire could still be lethal. All units, fall back to safe distance, Colonel Richardson ordered. Dr. Miller, prepare solar countermeasures. Major Thompson, get your people clear. The real fight is about to begin. Thompson led her squadron away from the flagship, watching as the Starhammer's glow intensified. The Royal Fleet thought this weapon would save them, would finally put the upstart humans in their place. They were about to learn one final lesson about underestimating Earth's preparation for this moment. Dr. Jessica Miller stared at the holographic display as the Starhammer's energy signature reached critical levels. The Royal Fleet's superweapon was designed to trigger devastating solar flares, using them to scour defiant worlds clean of resistance. But Earth had prepared for this moment. Project Helios is online, she announced, her fingers dancing across quantum-hardened controls. Solar monitoring stations reporting ready status. Colonel Richardson's voice was tense but steady. How long until they can fire? 4 minutes, Rodriguez reported from her hacking station. Their weapons charging sequence is being broadcast on all channels. They want everyone to see this. The massive Starhammer vessel hung in space like an artificial sun, its ancient hull plates glowing with contained power. Around it, the remains of the Royal Fleet regrouped, their formation protecting their final weapon. Lieutenant Cooper, status of the quantum beacons? Jessica asked. In position, Emma replied, her voice strained from her latest combat maneuver. Had to get creative with the placement, but they're locked onto the Starhammer's primary emitters. The Martinez twins monitored their satellite network status. Quantum disruption field holding steady, Sarah reported, but they've adapted some of their secondary systems to work without quantum shielding. They're learning, Michael added. Too late, but they're learning. Admiral Zixtel's voice boomed across all frequencies. Witness, primitive ones, the price of defiance. The Starhammer has cleansed 1,000 worlds. Your precious Earth will be nothing but ash. Jessica allowed herself a small smile, ready to show them what else we've been working on besides quantum disruption. Major Thompson, are your squadrons clear? Thunder Squadron is at safe distance, Thompson confirmed. Ready to move on your signal. The Starhammer's glow intensified. Solar monitoring stations detected the beginning of the weapon's primary sequence. It would use precise gravitational pulses to trigger a massive solar flare, directing it toward Earth with devastating accuracy. Project Helios was built for this, Jessica reminded her team. 30 years of solar research, preparing for the day we'd need to defend against stellar-level weapons. Rodriguez's hands flew across her keyboards. Starhammer's targeting systems are locked on. They're starting the firing sequence. Now, Jessica activated Project Helios. Hidden stations across Earth's surface powered up, their combined fields reaching out to interact with the solar plasma the Starhammer was trying to manipulate. Decades of research into solar physics and plasma containment were about to pay off. Energy spike. Sarah Martinez called out. Starhammer firing in 3, 2, 1. The superweapon released its gravitational pulse, reaching out to grab solar plasma and direct it toward Earth. But Project Helios was ready. The quantum beacons Cooper had planted created a feedback loop in the weapon's control systems. Containment fields holding, Jessica reported, watching the energy patterns shift. Redirecting plasma flow. Now, the Starhammer's own energy signature turned against it. Instead of controlling the solar plasma, the weapon found itself fighting against Earth's carefully tuned countermeasures. The plasma flow reversed. Their weapon is overloading, Rodriguez announced with satisfaction, broadcasting their failure on all channels. Every world in the hegemony is watching their ultimate weapon fail. Admiral Zixfel's voice had lost all its aristocratic polish. Impossible. No primitive world could understand solar manipulation at this level. We've been studying our sun since before we had electricity, Jessica responded on the same channel. Did you think we'd stop just because we reached space? Humanity never stops learning, Admiral. That's what makes us dangerous. The Starhammer's glow turned from controlled power to chaotic energy. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull as systems overloaded. The mighty superweapon that had terrorized 1,000 worlds was being undone by the very forces it sought to control. All ships, emergency withdrawal. Zixtal ordered. Fall back. Fall back. Thompson's squadrons pounced on the retreating vessels. Not so fast. Admiral, you wanted to teach us a lesson about power. Class isn't dismissed yet. The Starhammer's destruction lit up Earth's skies like a second sun. But unlike the 1,000 worlds before them, humanity had turned the Royal Fleet's greatest weapon into their greatest humiliation. The battle wasn't over, but its outcome was no longer in doubt. Earth had just shown the galaxy that the age of the hegemony's unchallenged dominance was ending. Amanda Rodriguez watched streams of data flood her screens as her broadcast algorithms worked perfectly. Every moment of the Royal Fleet's humiliation reached the farthest corners of the galaxy, transmitted through their own quantum network. Signal strength is holding, she reported, fingers dancing across her keyboards. The quantum disruption field lets us hijack their entire communication system. Every subjugated world is watching this live. Colonel Richardson studied the tactical display where the remnants of the Royal Fleet scattered in disarray. How are they responding? Reports coming in from dozens of worlds. Rodriguez grinned. Uprising on Centauri Prime. Resistance forces seizing control on the Orion colonies. The Pleiades systems are declaring independence. The Martinez twins coordinated with rebel forces across the galaxy, sharing the specifications for Earth's quantum disruption technology. New satellite networks activating in 6 star systems, Sarah announced. They're using our designs to disable local fleet elements. The hegemony's entire command structure is falling apart, Michael added. Their nobles can't coordinate without their quantum networks. Dr. Miller's voice came through the command channel. Major Thompson, status of the rebel pilot training. High above Earth, Thunder Squadron led formations of alien fighters through combat drills. Fast learners, Thompson replied. They'd got centuries of anger driving them. Just needed someone to show them the fleet could bleed. The main screen showed Admiral Zixfel's flagship retreating toward the edge of the solar system, its once proud hull scared and burning. The Admiral's voice, now stripped of all pretense, betrayed raw panic. This is impossible, he broadcast. We are the Royal Fleet. We've ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. You're nothing but primitives. Wrong. Jessica keyed into all frequencies. We're innovators. Every world you conquered, every species you enslaved, they all have that same potential. You just made the mistake of letting them see it. Lieutenant Cooper's shuttle docked with a rebel cruiser, delivering quantum beacon templates to resistance engineers. These people are incredible, she reported. They've been secretly advancing their own technology for centuries, hiding it from fleet inspections. Now they don't have to hide anymore. The tactical display lit up with new signatures as more rebel forces emerged from hiding. Supposedly primitive worlds revealed advanced technologies they'd developed in secret, waiting for the moment that hegemony showed weakness. Multiple fleet bases under attack, Rodriguez announced with satisfaction. The hegemony's own tactical data is being used against them. Every weakness we exposed, every flaw we found, it's spreading across the galaxy like wildfire. Thompson led another squadron of rebel pilots through the debris field that was once the Starhammer. These fighters they've been hiding. Some of them are more advanced than ours. They just needed the quantum disruption tech to neutralize fleet shields. The greatest prison, Richardson observed, is the one where the inmates don't believe escape is possible. Earth didn't just break the fleet's military power. We broke their myth of invincibility. Sarah Martinez highlighted a cluster of signals. New resistance groups requesting quantum beacon specifications, the technologies we developed independently. They're exactly what these worlds needed to challenge fleet control. And the best part, Michael added, each world is adapting our designs to their own technology. They're not just copying us. They're innovating, improving, making it their own. Jessica studied the data streams. The hegemony thought technological advancement was linear, that older automatically meant better. They never considered that parallel evolution could create different but equally valid solutions. Incoming transmission, Rodriguez announced. The Centauri resistance is broadcasting their victory. Fleet forces are surrendering across their sector. The command center erupted in cheers as more reports flooded in. The Royal Fleet's empire, built on a foundation of assumed superiority, was crumbling before the combined might of worlds they'd dismissed as primitive. Admiral, Jessica broadcast one final message to the retreating flagship. You wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy. Thank you. You helped us show every world that innovation beats stagnation, that determination beats tradition, and that no empire lasts forever. The revolution sparked by Earth's victory spread across the stars, carried by the very quantum networks the fleet had thought unbreakable. The age of the hegemony was ending, replaced by something new. An alliance of worlds united not by force, but by shared dreams of progress and freedom. 3 months after the Battle of Earth, Colonel Richardson stood before the newly formed Free Systems Alliance Council. Representatives from 50 liberated worlds filled the United Nations chamber, their diverse forms a testament to the galaxy's rich variety of life and evolution. The Royal Fleet's retreat has created both opportunities and challenges, he addressed the assembly. But humanity stands ready to share everything we've learned about resistance and innovation. Dr. Jessica Miller took the podium next, her quantum physics team now including scientists from a dozen worlds. The Quantum Defense Initiative is being reformed as an interstellar research cooperative. We're already seeing incredible advances as different evolutionary approaches to technology combine. On the massive display behind them, the Martinez twins coordinated the growing network of quantum disruption satellites. Each liberated system added its own designs to the defense grid, creating a protective web that no fleet technology could penetrate. The quantum network is stable, Sarah reported. And thanks to input from the Centauri engineers, we've improved efficiency by 300%. The old empire relied on forcing everyone to use the same technology, Michael added. We're stronger because we embrace different solutions to the same problems. Amanda Rodriguez, now leading a multi-species cyber warfare division, pulled up tactical data on her holographic display. Fleet remnants detected in the Orient sector, she announced. But they're not attacking. They're defecting. Seems even their own people are tired of noble rule. Major Thompson's voice came through the quantum comm as her combined human-alien squadron patrolled the solar system. The new pilots are exceeding all expectations. Each species brings unique insights to space combat. We're developing strategies the fleet never dreamed possible. Lieutenant Cooper's shuttle docked at the newly established Academy of Interstellar Defense. Another group of cadets ready for training, she reported. Former fleet worlds are sending their best and brightest. They're hungry to learn, to grow, to innovate. The chamber's attention turned to a special display showing Admiral Zixtel's final transmission to his nobles. The once mighty fleet commander looked broken, his aristocratic bearing shattered by defeat. The galaxy has changed, he told his peers. These primitives, these humans, they showed our own subjects that age doesn't equal wisdom, that tradition doesn't guarantee victory. The hegemony as we knew it is finished. Jessica smiled as she addressed the council. The Admiral finally learned what we tried to tell him from the start. Evolution doesn't respect authority. Innovation doesn't bow to tradition. Every species, every world, has the potential for greatness if given the chance to grow. Richardson highlighted sectors where former fleet worlds were already advancing beyond their previous constraints. The hegemony's greatest crime wasn't their conquest, he observed. It was convincing brilliant species that they couldn't surpass their masters. Earth didn't just break their military power. We broke their chains of thought. The council chamber erupted in discussion as representatives shared their own world's hidden innovations. Technologies developed in secret over centuries now emerged into the light, each discovery contributing to a new age of progress. The Free Systems Alliance isn't about Earth leading, Richardson continued. It's about all of us moving forward together. Every world brings its own genius, its own unique approach to evolution and innovation. Rodriguez's screens lit up with new data. More fleet defectors arriving. They're calling themselves the New Path Movement. Seems even the noble houses are realizing that stagnation leads to extinction. Let them come, Jessica said. The galaxy is entering an age of unprecedented growth and discovery. The hegemony thought they were the peak of evolution. Instead, they were a plateau humanity helped the galaxy climb beyond. As the council session ended, Earth's defenders watched their world's place in the cosmos transform. They had faced the galaxy's greatest empire not with blind courage, but with the most powerful force in evolution, the drive to adapt, to innovate, to surpass what came before. The royal fleet had arrived expecting to find primitives. Instead, they had discovered that humanity's greatest strength was never their technology. It was their refusal to accept limitations, their determination to find new paths forward, and their willingness to share those discoveries with all who wished to grow. The age of the royal fleet had ended. The age of innovation had begun.